plays the run exceptionally well. There he is, number 50, Jim Collins, on the stop.
He also has good speed, Marv. He's the one he's the one linebacker in their team they feel is a Pro Bowl player. They've got so many outstanding linebackers in this league right now. For a linebacker to play in the Pro Bowl, he has to stand out. As their defense goes, so will his reputation.
And Vince Newsom has come in as the nickel back for this 3rd down and 11. Paul McDonald now 2 for 6, 13 yards. Marv Albert, John Brodie from Anaheim. Temperature at game time at 95 degrees as the heat wave continues. So the penalty marker is down and delay of game called on the Cleveland Browns. Referee Bob Frederick, and a look at the rest of the crew.
Delay on the offense.
Delay of game against the Browns.
Tell you what, this gives the secondary such an advantage. 3rd and 15 is a lot different than 3rd and 10. And that 5-yard penalty, although it does not appear to be a big deal, necessitates a lot of time given the quarterback, and that's something he hasn't had.
Juriel Harris split out to the right side. Ricky Feature to the left. The tight end Newsom in motion. McDonald with no. They grabbed him from behind. He had the time and was tripped up by Jack Youngblood.
And, you know, we mentioned before the snap of the ball how important that extra 5 yards was. Had he been given just a split second longer, you'll see in this secondary coverage how number 83 in the bottom of your screen comes open just a little late. Now if Paul wants to throw the ball, had he been given a split second longer, he'd have had his man in the open. As it is, he's got a turnover.
And the second punt upcoming for Steve Cox in his 4th season out of Arkansas, back at his 16-yard line. And here is Ellert, who ripped off a 30-yard return moments ago. This time, excellent coverage and a fumble.
I think 83's got it.
It's recovered by the Browns. A 44-yard punt. And there's the indication. Scott Nicholas, backup linebacker, coming up with the ball.
All right. Special teams put the Rams in excellent field position on the first punt. This time Henry Ellert returns the favor, drops the ball, and that's good, aggressive special teams play. This doesn't happen to Ellert very often. He's got excellent balance, generally holds on to the ball. That's a big break early.
Scott Nicholas, who filled in last year after Dick Ambrose broke his ankle in his 3rd season out of Miami, coming up with the loose ball. First down for Cleveland at the Ram 23-yard line. Here is Pruitt with a hole inside the 20. Picked up 4. Jack Youngblood on the stop. 6:20 left in this first quarter. Anaheim, California, the Browns and the Rams are scoreless. These clubs met in preseason. In fact, McDonald had a very big day, but for the most part it was against second stringers as the Browns came up with their only victory of
also against a vanilla defense, because everyone in preseason plays 3 deep, 5 across, and anybody that can hold the ball in their hand can beat it.
Vanilla defense.
The game changes when the when the games count.
2nd and 6. McDonald for the end zone. Incomplete. The diving attempt by Holt. And right here, we'd like to welcome those of you who have been watching the Kansas City-Cincinnati game, with the KC Chiefs knocking off the Cincinnati Bengals 27-22.
Kansas City may just be a little tougher than some people expected. John Makovic seems to be putting the pieces together back there.
And for those of you who have just joined us, I'm Marv Albert along with John Brodie. 5:45 remaining.
Those are the sort of plays we just saw Harry Holt try to make an outstanding catch. Didn't hold on to the ball. That's the sort of thing a quarterback needs to get himself together also.
3rd down and 6. McDonald. And Irvin on the intercept and has a clear field. He is bye-bye. 81-yard interception
I don't think anything could happen worse from a Paul McDonald standpoint. He throws a ball that easily could be a touchdown. The next pass, his man is not open. Holt did not turn around. He was trying to throw it quickly to the tight end inside. He tried to create something. When you do that, oftentimes you come up empty. Duriel Harris didn't help him any. He allowed Irvin to come underneath him, pick the ball off with a clear field to run. The result, 6 points.
81 yards for Leroy Irvin. And the Rams with a 6-0 lead, and Paul McDonald continues to have big problems. He is 0 for his last 6. Mike Lansford adds the extra point. 5.5 left. First quarter from Anaheim, California. The Los Angeles Rams again doing it via the defensive route. Move in front. They lead the Browns 7-0. Paul McDonald moments ago intercepted by right quarterback Leroy Irvin. And Irvin, who ran one back for 94 yards in the playoffs last season against Dallas, rips one for 81 to give the Rams a 7-0 lead. Mike Lansford is getting set to kick to the combination of Preston Brown and Boyce Green.
Well, Leroy is a sort of defensive back, Marv, that plays whoever he's playing real tight. He hopes for a little help, and often Cromwell gives it to him. Early in the ball game, he almost picked one off. He played that ball the whole way, and he could be beaten deep, but so far the Browns have not tried. That could go down as a whiff.
Little chicanery there. Let's take another look.
Well, very good. He's lucky he missed it.
Well, there is a slight wind despite the heat here in Anaheim, 95 degrees and counting.
And it's a very welcome wind, too. Those players would really wilt down there with 80% humidity, 95-degree heat. The one plus factor is the sun hasn't come out yet.
You ever think about the fact that Kicking T has a tremendous sense of humor? How often this will. There it is again.
He thought he'd repeat the joke.
And I believe that Nolan Cromwell will hold it. So Cromwell will provide Lansford with some assistance. 5.5 remaining. First quarter. And the Rams leading it 7-0. Now the shorter approach by the kicker Lansford. This is Preston Brown. Out to the 10. Outstanding coverage by the Rams, led by backup linebacker Mark Giroux. So the Browns will start deep in their territory. And a timeout is called. Here's Paul McDonald getting set to come on as you watch Lansford have his difficulties with the kicking tee. We'll be right back.
The Rams have always been known for their outstanding special teams play, and that's the fellow responsible. Gil Haskell, he grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, coached at St. Ignatius High School, but has been with John Robinson, both at USC and here, and the Rams special teams play has improved immensely since he was inserted into that role, and those fellas come to play.
Excellent coverage on the kickoff return. First down at the 13. Here's Pruitt. Mike Pruitt picking his way out to the 18. Jim Collins, the inside linebacker, on the stop. Cleveland with the offensive alignment we ran down earlier. Doug Deacon at left tackle and Robert Jackson at left guard. Mike Babb the center. Joe DeLamalore at right guard, and Bill Kuntz starting instead of Paul Farron, bothered by a hip pointer. Farron was in the lineup last week against Seattle, replacing the injured Cody Risen. So it is now Bill Kuntz, a second-year man out of Penn State, in at right tackle. Second down and 6. And Pruitt having his difficulties getting going. Now Greg Meisner, the nose tackle, on the stop.
He's also going to have a lot more difficulties trying to beat that front three, because Greg Meisner is in there as a nose tackle because he's so good and consistent against the run. Now, Mike Babb, number 61, the center, is given the responsibility of handling him alone. That's a very difficult responsibility, particularly when you're trying to run effectively off tackle and inside. Things have not gone well for the Browns thus far.
And it's a third down and 6 at the 17. McDonald able to complete. hitting the tight end Newsom, and has the first down. Nolan Cromwell on the coverage. So it's a 10-yard pass play.
Cromwell's he's an all-pro player, there's no doubt about it, but putting him one-on-one with an Ozzie Newsome gives him a very difficult job indeed. I think if I'm McDonald, I try that every time I get a chance. That trip it picked up a first.
Ozzie Newsome, as you saw on the graphic, 89 receptions last year, second in the NFL behind Todd Christensen of the Raiders. Held to only 2 catches last week in the nightmare at the Kingdome in Seattle. First down at the 27-yard line. Play action, and McDonald. And it is ruled incomplete. Duriel Harris, the intended receiver, covered by Gary Green.
They had a little mix-up down there because Paul was given plenty of time to throw. We mentioned it's necessary to keep Jack Youngblood out of there. And here's number 85 in the blue, 69. You can see they're giving him a little help. Joe DeLamalure is over there helping number 75, Bill Kuntz. But that gives McDonald time to throw. He just had a mix-up. His tight end was sitting right next to Duriel Harris. 2 men in the same spot will not come up with a ball.
2nd and 10 from the 27. Just under 4 left. First quarter. Rams lead it 7-0. Incomplete, intended over the middle again for the tight end Newsome. Carl Eckern on the coverage. The only score, an 81-yard interception return by Leroy Irvin.
All right, now Paul McDonald in college and even last year, he'd hit 100 out of 100 of these type of throws. Right now, I'm sure he's a little concerned. He hasn't been given outstanding protection. So when you are given it, sometimes you still stay a little antsy, and he just missed through it.
Paul McDonald has taken over for Brian Sipe, who jumped to the New Jersey Generals of the USFL. I'm told that Brian is checking it out in the stands today as a spectator.
He is. They get a free one here.
Flags down, and Ricky Feature beating the Rams. Feature out of bounds at the 8-yard line. A 64-yard pass play. He was chased by the combination of Newsome and Irvin. And let's check the flag.
Now, it looked to us as if it was a defensive end, Reggie Doss jumping off before the snap of the ball. However, nothing. That's what it was. And
defense, number 71, was offside. The penalty being refused. First down.
And we talk about nickel coverage, zone coverage. This is what you call a nickel defense. They've got 2 men inside playing man-to-man. They've got everybody up there trying to cover four receivers with a free safety back here in Nolan Cromwell. This time he had a little problem. Beautiful throw by McDonald. Perfect pattern by Feature. They run it down to the 8.
So it'll be a 1st and goal at the 8-yard line. Ricky Feature in his 9th season out of Mississippi Valley. He missed most of last year with a leg injury. Here's Pruitt to the 6. Mike Pruitt, the Browns' leading rusher of the past 5 years. Stopped by Greg Meisner. So the Browns looking for their first touchdown of this 84 season, coming off the blanking by the Seahawks on Monday. They now have a 2nd and goal at the 6-yard line. 3:16 left, first quarter. Marv Albert, John Brodie from Anaheim. The Rams in front by the score of 7-0.
And we notice Brian Brennan just inserted into the lineup, the young rookie from Boston College. His pal Flutie last night had a pretty good night, didn't he?
What a performance by Flutie as the Eagles of Boston College came from behind to beat Alabama. Timeout called by the Browns. So McDonald over, and he will talk it over with head coach Sam Rutigliano. Just under 3 minutes left in this first quarter. When we resume, the Browns at the doorstep. 2nd and goal at the 6. Humid day here in Anaheim, and that has been the story the last couple of weeks here in Southern California. So we have been allowed to appear in shirt sleeves. A NBC first.
What a break.
Yes.
I'll tell you, if you didn't, they'd suspect your intelligence. And they might anyway.
Well, you would never say anything, I know, on a personal level against our producer, Peter Rolfe, or
no.
Director Dick Klein. It is a 2nd down and goal from the 6-yard line. Off the draw, Pruitt scores. Mike Pruitt with the Browns' first touchdown of the '84 season, and the Rams now lead it 7-6.
You know, Marv, the Rams were not able to see any short yardage plays in the movies last week because the Browns didn't have any. Now, this is a little delayed trap, and no better player to run it than Mike Pruitt. But that does put you at a disadvantage defensively when you don't know what to expect, and they were certainly fooled.
Now Matt Barr with the try for the extra point. McDonald puts it down, and we're tied at 7. 2:53 left in this first quarter. The Rams and Browns even at 7. The pennant races are heating up these days, and NBC Sports is all the baseball action. Here's a preview. Under 3 minutes left in the first quarter. We're tied at 7 off that Cleveland drive, capped off by Pruitt running it in from 6. The big play, McDonald to feature for 64 yards. Drew Hill is back, 6-year man from Georgia Tech, takes it at the 10. Hill to the 20. And rammed out at the 29-yard line. Drew Hill, who sat out last year with a back injury, on the return. 8 plays, 87 yards, 2 minutes 38 seconds in time, and Mike Pruitt able to take it over on the draw. Timeout has been called. The Rams and the Browns tied at 7. Well, a young man who only moments ago was in a conversation with John Brodie.
Well, I put a lot of them to sleep, but this guy doesn't look like he ever cared.
The Rams first down at their 29-yard line. 2 minutes 40 seconds left in this first quarter. We're tied at 7. Eric Dickerson, the lone D-back, and Dickerson off the delay picked up 3 on the play. Reggie Kemp on the stop. Right now we're set for an update. Let's go to NFL 84.
All right, Marv, I want to show you a strange play in the Kingdome. Dan Fouts back to pass. He's trying to hit Bobby Duckworth over the middle, but watch what happens. The ball hits Dave Brown's hands. Kenny Easley's foot. Bobby Duckworth ends up with it, and the former Arkansas Razorback takes it in. It's 10-0.
Well, a dazzler in Seattle. Thank you, Bill. Marv Albert, John Brodie back in Anaheim. 2nd down and 6. The Rams from their 33-yard line. And again, Dickerson picking his way out to the 36, where his forward progress was stopped. Don Rogers, the rookie free safety, on the stop, as Dickerson was led by the right guard, Dennis Harrah.
Eric Dickerson may be the best running back of all time before he's through, and a lot of things have to go right for a man to be noted as that. He has to have an offensive line, which he has an excellent one. They have to feature him, which they do generally. But against the Browns, he's got his work cut out for him, because what they feature are the 4 best linebackers in the game. And that is a grudge match.
And Eric to the sideline. Dwayne Crutchfield, 3-year man from Iowa State, former Jet, former Oiler. Now as the single running back. That's Gooman peeling off. And here's Crutchfield. Good haul, and he picks up the first down. Dwayne Crutchfield stopped by the inside linebacker Eddie Johnson. Crutchfield should get much playing time today. Barry Redden, the usual backup to Dickerson, is out because of dislocated toes.
Yeah, and although Crutchfield looks like he's in good shape to me, he comes in at about 245. You know, his weight has always been a problem with him. Robinson never has been one to concern himself with those sort of things. They don't have any sort of a weigh-in every week. It fits Crutchfield just right, and he delivered.
So it's a first down at the 42-yard line. We're down to 35 seconds left. First quarter. Ferragamo swings it to Dickerson. First down and more for Eric Dickerson.
That's
Lawrence
what
Johnson on the stop.
Marv, that's what they can do when they keep Dickerson in the backfield. It really makes those linebackers play honest. In the shotgun, he comes out. When he's out of your offense, I feel like you lose a dimension. Him just running out of the backfield, he doesn't have to block anybody. But if you leave only one linebacker on him, that fella's going to come up empty about 3/4 of the time.
Picked up 14 on the play. There was some criticism following the game Monday night against Dallas, the fact that in many of the big plays, third down situations out of the shotgun, Dickerson came to the sideline. And apparently the feeling is his passing skills, receiving skills, are not refined out of the shotgun. Here's play action.
I don't know what that means. But...
That was the Ram explanation.
Yeah.
And Keith Baldwin comes up with the sack of Vince Ferragamo. Keith Baldwin in his third season out of Texas A&M, doing it from his right defensive end position.
Right, perfect time for a play action pass, but also fine defense. He's trying to get to his wide receiver, Drew Hill. He cannot do so. He's not open. Pretty good pursuit.
For those of you expecting to see the San Diego-Seattle game and are instead seeing our game between the Browns and the Rams, we apologize. We're working on bringing that game to you. Of course, nice to have you with us, but we are working on the line problem. And this first quarter has come to a conclusion. So in Anaheim, 1 quarter in the books. Cleveland Browns, Los Angeles Rams tied at 7. We'll be back with the second quarter in a moment. Number 29, Eric Dickerson, second year out of SMU, who emerged much quicker than I think even the Los Angeles Rams expected.
Well, he was great. When they were able to get rid of Wendell Tyler, you know how good they expected him to be. I think he even exceeded those expectations.
Second quarter underway. The Rams from midfield. Second down, 15. Ferragamo continues to have a rough time. Getting the time and able to complete. David Hill for the first down inside the 35. He picked up 15 on the play.
And whenever they throw the ball to David Hill, he's generally open because they do not feature him. Again, here's a nickel defense. The wide secondary, they've got a free safety. Everybody else playing man-to-man underneath. Perfectly thrown by Vinny. And that was number 51, Eddie Johnson, trying to cover him one-on-one. That is a tough job.
All right, they've called for the measurement. It appeared from our location that the Rams picked up the first down. No, they did not. Just short.
As we look, John, at Jeff Kemp with John Robinson, we see the stats are really not all that indicative in the scoring, which is tied. The Browns had the ball most of the time. The score for the Rams coming on an interception. They threw the ball, it says 82 yards, which gives them the edge, but that was all in one play. Neither team is doing much offensively at the line of scrimmage. I think it's going to end up being one of those fire the ball around the infield and see if some of it sticks before the afternoon's out.
So it's a third down and inches. Dwayne Crutchfield giving a blow to Eric Dickerson. Irv Pankey now in at left tackle, replacing Bill Bain. So it's Pankey, Hill, Smith, Parra, and Slater. And flags all over the field.
You do not expect that from Jackie Slater. He's the man that jumped the gun. There are times when you can get away with it. There are times when it can destroy a drive. This changes a 3rd and 1 foot situation. You can bet they were running right over his spot. He tried to get off a little quick. You do pucker a bit when you know they're coming your way.
Number 78 on the offense.
So number 78, Jackie Slater, a Pro Bowl selectee last year for the very first time. 9th year out of Jackson State. They're very considerate of Eric Dickerson. You'll note he usually picks him up, gets him back into the huddle. 3rd down and 6. And it's broken up. Don Rogers, the free safety who had a 10-tackle performance against Seattle last week, although Sam Rutigliano looks for even more improvement from his rookie free safety.
Marv, when you see a free safety making 10 tackles, that means your defense had a bad day. They shouldn't be getting down that far. But what Marty Schottenheimer, their defensive coordinator, did say about Rogers is he's going to give him a little freedom because instinctively he's great and you have to let him play. That was a perfect illustration of him playing the ball perfectly.
Well, the Browns say eventually people will not be running in Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. That'll be down the road somewhat. Here's John Misko from midfield. And Brian Brennan let it fly by, and it carries in, so they'll bring out to the 20-yard line a 39-yard punt. by Misko. We're early second quarter. Rams and Browns tied at 7. We'll be back after these messages. Marv Albert, John Brodie from Anaheim Stadium. John's really cooled off here in the booth.
Yes.
I told you we'd have the jackets out eventually.
That's right.
And we're about to resume on the field. The Browns about to take over from their 20-yard line following the punt by John Misko. We're 7-7 early in this second quarter. So let's get back down to the field. Paul McDonald at quarterback. Mike Pruitt, the lone deep back. Check that Boyce Green has come on, and Green out to the 22-yard line with a penalty marker down. And looked like Green coughed it up.
He did that. Let's see whose penalty.
But a flag down. Mel Owens, the man who covered it up.
Illegal motion on the offense, and it will be refused. And the fumble was recovered by Los Angeles. First down.
So the Rams recover.
Well, both these teams are so tough to run against. You'll notice it's a crackback block on number 85 to get him out of the way. Eric Harris, their strong safety, makes a fine force play, actually gets a piece of the ball, and Boyce Green coughs it up. Second big turnover.
And it's a first down for the Rams at the Cleveland 21. Ellard is to the right side now. And Ellard on a reverse. Picked up short yardage. Clay Matthews, outside linebacker on the right, able to make the stop. We're set for an update. Let's get to NFL 84 in New York.
All right, Marv, at the Kingdome, an historic moment. Franco Harris wearing 34 instead of the familiar 32. His first carry as a Seahawk. It was good for 6 yards. Walter Payton got 179 today in Chicago. Marv?
Here in Anaheim, the Browns and Rams are tied at 7. 2nd and 6 coming up for the Rams at the Cleveland 17. That's Gooman, the so-called U-back in motion. Dickerson to the 16 and a flag throw.
There are absolutely no avenues in which you can run out there, either side.
And the hold indicated by the referee, Bob Frederick.
Holding. Number 81 to the offense. Down be repeated. It'll still remain second down.
So the tight end David Hill is called for the hold, and it is a 2nd and 16 upcoming back at the 27.
Well, we saw David Hill denying the charge. Have you ever heard a guy say, yeah, I held him?
Ellard to the right. Drew Hill is to the left. Dickerson. And the Browns all over Eric Dickerson. Eddie Johnson, Clay Matthews combining on the tackle. Well, today's game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Wang. Wang puts people in front of computers. And by AC Delco, the smart parts.
You could tell, Marv, that last call was certainly the doing of the coaching staff. They were in field goal position. They didn't want to give up that, and they were hoping to pick up 5 or 6 yards so Vinny could get in there with a 10-yard pass. No sale.
Browns doing a job on Dickerson. 5 carries, only 4 yards. And Ferragamo completes. Inside the 20, short of the first down. Henry Ellard stopped by Hanford Dixon.
That's the kind of pattern that you go, well, okay, we picked up a little more yardage, and he's got great time this time. You'd assume that they'd be looking down the field far enough to pick up the first down. He could not find a receiver open, had to come off to Ellard. Although the ball was completed, it's just a little shorter field goal try.
So Mike Lansford, who was 2 for 2 on Monday night against Dallas, hitting from 31 and from 36, will attempt from 37 yards away. Lansford will beat out Chuck Nelson in a training camp battle. And the Rams take a 10-7 lead on the Browns. 37-yard field goal by Lansford. Another great weekend of NFL football is coming your way next week. Here's a preview. Mike Lansford, who just hit from 37 yards away, getting sent to kick off to the Browns. Preston Brown, Boyce Green are back. Last week, the kickoff return man Bruce Davis and Ernest Biner had a very rough time, so the Browns making changes here today. This is Preston Brown to the 20, 25. Preston Brown in his 4th year out of Vanderbilt. Hit down by a combination of Wilcher and Newsom. And a timeout has been called. The Browns will take over at their 26. They're trailing the Rams by the score of 10-7. Marv Albert, John Brodie from Anaheim, California. We are 4 minutes in, second quarter, and the Rams, converting on 2 Cleveland turnovers, lead the Browns 10-7. Cleveland first down at their 26-yard line. The quarterback is Paul McDonald. The lone setback is Mike Pruitt. Rookie Ricky Bolden is in the lineup now at wide receiver. Here's Pruitt off the big hole across the 30-yard line.
You know, the first time we've seen any movement at all today was on that first down play. Mike Babb, number 51, he's in there moving people back. That's DeJournay, who had no play on the ball. When you get movement like that at the point of attack, you can pick up a few yards, but that's the first time we've seen it today.
Pruitt now 27 yards, 11 carries, picked up 5. It's a 2nd and 5 at the 31. Picked up 2. Jack Youngblood right there. Right here, we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
KWWL, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Dubuque.
95-degree temperature here in Anaheim. The Rams leading the Browns 10-7. 10 minutes remaining in this first half. The Browns in possession. 3rd and 3 upcoming at their 33-yard line. Now Green and Pruitt are the running backs. And McDonald is hauled down. And let's see. The ball was jarred free.
I think they're going to call that an incomplete pass and give him a chance to punt. But the big thing there is the pursuit of Jack Youngblood and the fact that Boyce Green is having an awful lot of trouble getting up. We mentioned earlier they're putting a lot of attention on Youngblood on that particular play. They had 2 people trying to handle him. Neither could do it. And we might get a chance to see. Number 85 on your screen, 14 years in the league. Here he comes from the left side. He gets away from Cons. McDonald didn't help him. He was playing a little bit cozy. Cons does recover the fumble, puts him in a punting situation.
We'll be back in just a moment.
You know, it's always scary when your top running back looks like he's gone down with a leg injury. This time you have an opportunity to see it. It was a scare, but I think he'll be back soon, because number 30 gets run into by Booker Reese. Number 66 hits his left leg right by the ankle area. However, he was walking naturally by the end of the play.
And Jack Youngblood credited with his 2nd sack of the day. So Steve Cox will punt from the 13-yard line. Henry Ellard is back at the 25.
They've got them all on the line.
Nearly blocked. Al Gross got in. Here's Ellard to the 40. Midfield. Circle route for Ellard. Using all of the field. Beautiful shifting by Henry Ellett. Clay Matthews on the tackle. There are flags on the play. A 39-yard punt, but a gorgeous 26-yard return by Ellett. But let's see what the call is all about.
It still doesn't change the concern that I know Retigliano has to have about his special teams. You can't go down there in one of those open gap situations. He's got some fellas real quick.
Illegal block by number 21 on the kick return team. And it will be a first down.
That time he got lucky, Marv, but their special teams have just got to be a little more consistent. They've all got to get down there in a wave, and when they don't, they get in trouble. Now, there are only 2 fellas anywhere near the ball carrier when the ball is caught. When that happens, you can see 51, 55, 53 are coming up in another time frame. When that happens, number 80 is going to make some long gains.
And Nolan Cromwell, the man who was singled out by Bob Frederick. So the Rams first down at their 27-yard line. And here's Dickerson on the slant for short yardage. Reggie Camp, the left defensive end, and the inside linebacker Eddie Johnson combining. So just a yard for Dickerson. 2nd and 9 upcoming as we swing around the NFL scoreboard. Marino threw 3 more today. Miami defeating New England 28-7. Chicago winning big over Denver.
Well, John Elway is the franchise in Denver, and I know Kubiak does a fine job in replacement, but when you have to start and play the whole game, sometimes things change, as we see Dallas with their problems. Detroit ended up beating Atlanta in overtime.
And here's Ferragamo on 2nd down. David Hill, the tight end, right at the first down marker. Johnson and Chips combining to make the stop. And Eric Dickerson just cannot get off. 6 carries, 6 yards, held to a 1-yard pickup just a moment ago. First down for the Rams. First down at the 37. Cardinals winning big, and Kansas City over Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's starting to slow as St. Louis is starting fast, and teams do seem to change from year to year in this league. I think Pete's got his parity.
San Diego in front of Seattle, 10-zip in the first quarter. Ferragamo with time, and underthrew Mike Gooman, and here's it from the crowd. Don Rogers covering, but Gooman was wide open.
Well, he was wide open. I know Gooman is not accustomed, and he was not the primary receiver. He was a decoy. He was the only area that Vince had open. He came open a little bit late. Nobody can really put their finger on how important it is to have one fella that you're on the same page with. All the receivers that Vince is throwing to right now are new additions, or he has only worked with for a year or 2. None of them are the 3rd down type receivers that he has been working with, and I really think his uncertainty shows in that situation.
By the speedster, number 89, Ron Brown is flanked to the left. George Farmer to the right, looking for Farmer. So the square out to the 44, Frank Minifield. Bump Farmer out of bounds. There's Farmer, number 84. In the first quarter, the Raiders playing across the way at the Coliseum, leading Green Bay 7-0. And it's Houston over the Indianapolis Colts, 14-7 in the second quarter. 3rd down and 3 for the Rams from their 44-yard line. Vince Ferragamo is 6 for 8.
This is where it's nice to have active linebackers, Marv.
Dickerson made the cut, but stopped across the 45 by the strong safety Al Gross.
It's not too bad when you have a safety man that's as active as Al Gross either. He started with the Cowboys last year. He didn't feel like he had a chance to really show himself since coming to Cleveland. He started as a backup, has taken over as a first stringer, and has played consistently well.
Fans don't like the call here by John Robinson, 4th and 1. And John Misko checks in, so the punting unit has come on.
Well, there are some days when I'd agree, but I don't think the Browns have shown that they can move the ball very well, and if you don't give them good field position, let them come out.
Misko from his 32. Brian Brenning, the rookie from Boston College, back at the 15. Misko angling. Here's Brennan. Again, the good coverage as he gets to the 16. 46-yard punt by Misko and a 9-yard return by Brennan. 6:55 left first half. It's the Rams 10, the Browns 7. Cleveland Browns trying to turn it from the 33-0 loss in Seattle this past Monday. They're trailing the Rams here 10-7. Midway point, second quarter. Paul McDonald, 4 for 12, 88 yards. And here's Pruitt. Picked up a couple out to the 19. Charlie Desjardins on the stop.
Well, the tone has been set, Marv. That's a draw play on first down. They haven't been able to do anything when they're running their regular traps and sweeps. Neither side. And they've got some running backs.
Well, the Ram defensive unit played extremely well in the loss to Dallas on Monday, and they accounted for the Ram touchdown. 81-yard interception run back by Leroy Irvin. McDonald going sideline. Ozzie Newsome. Diving catch by Newsome at the 23. Carl Eckern on the tackle.
Marv, this is about the only kind of pattern they've really been able to execute. You see Ozzie comes off. It's a delay pattern. He's hoping to break free of Eckern, but Eckern is a very active, effective linebacker. He handles Ozzie. When he breaks off him, he almost pushes him down, causes him to lose his balance. They only pick up 2 yards.
So a 3rd down and 4 upcoming, third catch of the day by Newsome. But it's a 3rd and 4 at the 23. And again, they go with the 2 running backs. Boyce Green. Oh, what a hit. And short of the first down.
Nolan Cromwell. When he hits you, you don't really have to look at the number. You can almost feel it. And we're about 75 rows up. You see, the play looks as if it's going to break real clean. Now look at the inside of your screen. Out of nowhere. Boom. Number 21 sets him right on the ground. 3 yards short of the first down. And a punting situation again for the Browns.
Steve Cox. We got it. Back inside is 10. Steve Cox missed the first half of last year undergoing brain surgery. Water on the brain. He's back in action, has a very strong leg. 2-step punter, and just did get it away again. Al Gross right on the scene. And the fair catch. A 36-yard punt. And check that. That was Gary Green who nearly blocked it. And with 4:49 remaining in this first half, Rams lead it by 3. The Los Angeles Rams take over first down at their 39-yard line. They lead it 10-7. On the 81-yard interception touchdown run by Leroy Irvin, 37-yard field goal by Lansford. Cleveland on a 6-yard run by Pruitt for their only score. Ferragamo to throw, first down. And it's picked off. Hanford Dixon on the interception of Vince Ferragamo, who is hearing it from the crowd.
Well, and he's going to hear it. I've mentioned it twice, and maybe it's mine. You know, Vinny has always been, as he's been called, the mad arm or the mad bomber, or he's the type of fellow whose personality is such that he loves to throw the ball down the field, and he hasn't been able to get anyone open. When he didn't throw it down the field, he always had Preston Denard, and it takes you a long time to coordinate with a quarterback and a receiver. He has no one to throw to early. He tries to force the ball in. Shouldn't have been thrown. Doesn't know where to go with it. That's the result.
Well, he was intercepted 4 times by the Dallas Cowboys, and then Dickerson was picked off once on an option play. Cleveland taking over at the 40. The quick pop for Newsome. So McDonald with a quick release for Ozzie Newsome. And it's just shy of the first down. Well, the Mets come back and make it 2 out of 3 over the Cubs, a 5-1 final. So the Mets are now trailing by 6 behind the first place Chicago Cubs. Seattle and Kansas City tied at 4 in the 7th. So big games today in the American League West. Texas over Minnesota 9-3. Going in Minnesota and Kansas City in a virtual tie with California a half game back. And as you see, penalty markers thrown.
This is a high-level conversation.
Yeah. Bob Frederick and his crew are checking it out. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of the telecast without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Rams and the NFL is prohibited.
Encroachment on the defense, number 70. Will be a first down.
So Charles DeJournay is the man called.
Well, he did try to get a little head start, and I don't blame him. If I had to play head up with Mike Babb, the Brown center, I think I'd try to get there before he got me.
Fifth penalty assessed to the Rams. Pruitt, good second effort, and then took a pop right near the 40 from that man again, Nolan Cromwell.
Well, that Nolan will slap some, but Mike moved DeJournay out of there again, and when you can get movement from your center, it seems to really help your play. It's about the only place they've had any.
Mike Pruitt last year, 1,184 yards, third best in the AFC, and getting a lot of business his way today. He's carried 14 times for 37 yards. Here's Pruitt again. He found a hole and a flag throw. He's short of the first down. George Andrews, the outside linebacker, on the stop. And the hold on the Browns. So they will move it back. Sam Rutigliano.
He's a little
Holding.
concerned, and rightly he should be. His team has not moved the ball effectively. He's just trying to see some semblance of offense start here. I really think that Paul McDonald can be a top quarterback. I don't think he's shown the qualities that he really has yet. And second down and 13 is a tough place to operate.
McDonald in his fifth season out of the University of Southern California. The hold on the center, Mike Babb. Second down, 14. And complete for the first down to Brian Brennan, the rookie from Boston College. Doug Flutie's favorite receiver last year at BC, a 26-yard pass play.
Boy, this is a beautiful pattern run by Brennan. They mentioned him in the same stride with Steve Largent. Well, if he ever attracts that sort of recognition, he'll be something. This is the nickel defense. You see the two fellas playing center field back here with 5 men underneath in the zone. Brennan had his back turned till the ball was thrown. McDonald coordinated beautifully, and they picked up the first.
Now Duriel Harris out to the left. The tight end is Holt. Pruitt. Again, nice second effort getting to the 20-yard line. Cromwell and Owens on the tackle. Getting back to Brian Brennan, he says it's a lot of fun now catching passes where you see the quarterback's arm releasing the ball. With Doug Flutie at Boston College, you just saw the ball in the air. With Paul McDonald is 6'2", you see the arm and the ball.
Well, you know, he made a beautiful play then. He did not give his pattern away until the ball was thrown. And that's the makings of a good receiver.
2nd and 5. Pruitt dancing for yardage. So Mike Pruitt closing in on the first down marker. Reggie Doss on the stop. The races for the pennant are far from over. NBC Sports will take you right down to the wire. Join us next Saturday when the American tradition continues. Major League Baseball's Game of the Week right here, NBC Sports. Baseball schedule featuring the Cubs and the Mets, White Sox and the Angels, plus Detroit and Toronto. So we'll be watching the pennant standings to determine the most crucial games to bring to you next week right here, next Saturday beginning 3 p.m. Eastern on NBC Sports.
And the Angels have slipped themselves right into a contending position.
First down was picked up, and McDonald tried to get it away, and let's see what the ruling is.
Sam, I think Paul McDonald got lucky. Reggie Doss had him by the leg, and generally you'll see the official rule that ball dead. On that occasion, he gave that split second extra time, and McDonald got rid of it. That's like a 10-yard reprieve, because as Reggie comes back or Paul does. Look at Reggie, jumps right over the top. Doug Deacon cannot handle him, number 73. McDonald used his head wisely and got away with it.
Minute 59 left, first half, and the score remains Rams 10, Browns 7. We apologize for the audio problem we just experienced. Back here in Anaheim, just under 2 minutes remaining in this first half. And the Rams in front of the Browns by the score of 10-7. Rams coming off the loss Monday night here at home, losing to Dallas 20-13. Rams blowing a 13-0 lead. It was the Ram defense that put them in front 13-zip. And right now the Rams on defense facing the Browns, who are on the move. Pruitt and now Johnny Davis in the Cleveland backfield. And here is Pruitt trying to follow Davis. And gets to the 10. Davis, an outstanding blocking back. Jim Collins on the stop of Mike Pruitt.
And you notice the Browns have had a little more success in this drive running the football. And if Pruitt gets a few cracks, he'll create some others on his own. That time there wasn't an awful lot of room, but with his sort of power, he just pulled the linebacker Jim Collins about 4 or 5 yards, and they've got a 3rd and 4.
And it's been a busy first half for Mike Pruitt.
Now, this is certainly a throwing down. Let's see how what they do.
3rd down and 5.
They've got a missed coverage.
Here's Pruitt trying the middle. And Reggie Doss got him from behind.
Sometimes in all this complication, you can't take advantage of the obvious things that expose themselves. He had a slot back. Brennan sitting right out there with no man to cover him. Finally, Irvin came all the way over from the other side, but they couldn't take advantage of it.
And with the clock running down to 45 seconds left in the half, here's Matt Barr attempting for the first time today. It's a 25-yard attempt. McDonald will hold. Barr coming off a superb season in '83. Missed from 44 in his only attempt last week. And he has tied it at 10. 25-yard field goal for Matt Barr. So the Browns and the Rams are tied at 10 with 28 seconds left in this first half. Join us next week for NFL football here on NBC. Start the day 12:30 p.m. Eastern with NFL 84 and host Bob Costas. And then some of you will see the defending Super Bowl champions, LA Raiders, Lyle Alzado and his Raiders battling the Kansas City Chiefs. Other regional games include Seattle at New England, Cincinnati playing at the New York Jets. John and I will be at Giant Stadium for the Jets and the Bengals. Houston Oilers at San Diego. Your team plays here. That's next Sunday on NBC Sports.
And remember at halftime that Bob Costas and his boys on NFL 84 will be right with us with all the updates and the action around the league. And there really hasn't been an awful lot of action right down here in Anaheim Stadium, Marv. Most of it has been turnovers. Only one drive, that by the Browns in that particular drive. But things have been slow. And when you talk about the whys, last week we saw Paul McDonald and Vince Ferragamo both have relatively poor games. And I don't think either group has shown that they've come back yet.
The only excitement, the 81-yard interception return for the touchdown by Leroy Irvin. Drew Hill out across the 15. Jim Dumont, backup linebacker, on the stop. And with 24 seconds remaining in this first half of the Rams, first down at their 17-yard line. And less than mixed reaction for Vince Ferragamo.
Well, that's right. Now, a lot of times Vince is the sort of fellow that you would fear in a situation like that because he is so accurate down the field, but he hasn't seemed to be able to find anybody down there. Now, I'd imagine he'll fire that thing down the field, and I'm sure number 87, Drew Hill, will be under it.
Nope.
Wrong.
Nice job. Dickerson on a draw. Not taking any chances. Apparently the Rams do not want to end the half by throwing an interception. And time running down, and they will just run it out. So that will do it. Ferragamo is 6 for 9, 64 yards. But that's much more impressive than what has taken place. He has not had a good first half. So at halftime, it's the Rams and the Browns tied at 10. That's the end of the first half. And we'll be right back here in Anaheim after these messages. Marv Albert, John Brodie, we welcome you back to Anaheim, California. Halftime, and the Browns and the Rams are tied at 10. The most exciting play of the first half, the opening touchdown off an interception. It was picked off by Leroy Irvin as we watch Paul McDonald fading back.
Well, you can see it's a perfect illustration of people not in sync. Paul tried to get number 81, Harry Holt. He did not turn around for the ball. He was a hot receiver. That means look for anything in a blitz. He tries to force it, tries to make a good play out of a bad one. Dario Harris didn't help him out much, and Leroy Irvin runs it all the way back into the end zone for a touchdown, and that's the way the scoring started.
81 yards for Irvin. However, the Browns did come back off a McDonald to a feature 64-yard play, leading to this.
And this was, I think, this was the most effective running play in the game up to this point. It was simply a delayed trap, something where you use the other team's momentum to pull them out of position. Mike Pruitt puts it in the end zone, and the game is tied.
Each club with a field goal, and that's the way we stand at 10 apiece. Pruitt has run 54 yards, 18 carries. Dickerson only 12 yards on 8 carries. That has been it.
I think we alluded to that before the ball game started. You notice the Rams have only had the ball for 11.5 minutes, far under their average. And when they are able to contain the ball, they're able to do things a little more effectively. Now, the Browns have shut down the running of Eric Dickerson. They've given up a lot to do it. But Vinny has not been in sync with his receivers. And I guess we've brought it up a few times where you need, if the best illustration was that 25-yard pattern he tried to throw to Mike Gooman in a 3rd and long situation. Well, Mike, I know they don't have any patterns where Mike goes down 27 yards and then turns in, because that just isn't diagrammed that way, and I'm sure somebody was out of sync. Vinny, to me, looks like a fellow that hasn't found a receiver he can rely on in those sort of situations. Preston Denard was that sort last year, and I don't get the feeling that their game plan is in sync either. The coaches send in the plays. There's no timing. They haven't got old Mo on their side, and they'll have to do that in order to move the ball against the Browns.
Neither quarterback has played well. McDonald 7 for 16, 126 yards, and 1 interception. And Ferragamo, as you saw, 6 for 9 for 64 yards. A reminder, the Today program's Brian Gumbel will be live from Moscow tomorrow morning. An exclusive, unprecedented interview with the newly named Chief of the Soviet Military. That's tomorrow on Today with Bryant Gumbel. And we're just about set for the second half kickoff. Drew Hill dropping back as the deep man for the Los Angeles Rams. There is Hill, 6-year man out of Georgia Tech. And this is Steve Cox getting set to kick off.
And the burden is on the special teams of the Browns, because the Rams have made 2 outstanding special teams plays. This has been their best group up to date.
Rams and Browns tied at 10. Good kick by Cox. And Hill will stay right there, so they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. Both the Browns and the Rams coming off losses in their opening games. Last Monday, Rams losing to Dallas. They blew a 13-0 lead. Browns losing in Seattle 33-0. So this is their second straight trip to the West Coast. Do you think there's any possibility that we could see Jeff Kemp in the second half?
There is a possibility. I'll tell you what. When fans start getting on a quarterback, I think the quarterback either meets the challenge or he crumbles. And I have never seen Vince crumble in front of a situation like this. He seems to come back time after time, and we should see early in this quarter.
All right, Ferragamo to the ground. Dickerson looks to get wide, and the Browns continue to play Dickerson perfectly. Cousineau and Dixon on the stop.
Perfectly means they've got 7 men on the line of scrimmage. He's got a 3-man front line. And look, Eddie Johnson, 51, staying right on the line. They're not fooled. They're very vulnerable to play action passes, but you'll notice you saw 3 50s all after Eric Dickerson. And the strong safety pulls him down.
Eric Dickerson, the NFL's leading rusher last year as a rookie, 1,808 yards. Lost a yard on the play. 2nd and 11. And again, Dickerson, short yardage. Chip Banks, outside linebacker on the left. Get
the feeling they're trying to establish something that they've already established they can't do. When somebody puts 7 men on the line of scrimmage and you still contain or try to get movement on the line of scrimmage, you're barking up the wrong tree.
So it's a 3rd and 9 at the 21. Just underway, 3rd quarter. Farmer to the right. Hill left. Out of the shotgun. Flag thrown. And the completion. Otis Grant on the reception, but a penalty marker down. Frank Minifield, the left quarterback, pushing him out of bounds right near the first down marker.
Just in front of it was where it was marked, and Otis Grant obviously did not agree with that. Offside, so that one little foot cost them a first down. They can get a replay, and I think they'll take it, because although they're a foot short, they wouldn't go for it on 4th. This will give them a 3rd down and 5 or 6 situation, and they at least get another shot at it.
Number 94 was offside.
So it will be a 3rd down and 4 at the 26.
Let's see if they give Vinny enough time this time to fire the ball easily. Now, this is thought to be the best offensive line in football, and I certainly wouldn't disagree off the past performance of 2 years back up until the present time. It seems to be coordination, and you'll have to find some.
Reset.
Well, apparently they had some problems with the clock, so they are resetting it. We have 1.5 minutes gone by in the 3rd quarter. 4 wide receivers in there now for the Rams. Hill and Grant, Ellard, Farmer. Nearly picked off the one-time Los Angeles Ram, Rod Perry, who would have loved to come up with the intercept, but nearly did just that.
All right, again, I guess I'll stick my neck out. There are quarterbacks that are well positioned in that shotgun. There are those who have a little problem with it. That time Vinny had problem getting the ball. It was a short pattern. It's hard to throw short out patterns from a shotgun because you have to get the snap from center, and then you have to get rid of the ball. He could not do so in time and almost got another interception.
So John Misko getting good hang time. Brian Brennan in pursuit at the 30. And again, the coverage right there. 44-yard punt by Misko and a 2-yard return by Brennan. It was stopped by Ed Brady. Cleveland Browns back to the offense. They'll take over at their 31. Browns first down at their 31 as we resume. Up front, it's Deacon, Jackson, Babb, DeLamalore, Kuntz for the injured Farron, who had been replacing the injured Cody Risen. Paul McDonald, the quarterback. The handoff to Mike Pruitt. Hopping out to the 35, Greg Meisner, the nose tackle, on the tackle.
All right, it looks like one of those deals where they're trying to make sure that nobody fouls up first. This is a little offensive line play. Fairly good surge, good containment by the offensive lineman, which allowed Pruitt to cut back to pick up his 5 yards. It's a little counter play. Everybody get a piece of the defense, see what our back can make. He made 5.
The last running back for the Browns to gain 100 yards against the Rams, a fellow by the name of Jimmy Brown, back in 1958. Nice move by Ozzie Newsome. And he has the first down. Jim Collins on the stop.
Excuse me, you said the last man to make 100 yards against the Rams
for
in a Cleveland Brown uniform.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They don't play each other that often, so it can be a little misleading, but it still is an indication of just how strong the run defense for the Rams is.
Mike Pruitt may be on his way to a 100-yard game. First down at the 44-yard line. 3 minutes gone by, third quarter. And here is Pruitt with flags thrown. Short pick up the strong safety, Eric Harris, on the stop. Eric Harris in his 5th season.
We saw a man jump on the right side of the line for the Rams, but whether or not he was pulled off, we do not know.
Number 26 was offside. We'll repeat it, first down.
When the strong safety's offsides, you can tell how many men they have on the line of scrimmage.
And that is Eric Harris. Like Gary Green, a one-time Kansas City Chief. Harris's 2nd year with the Rams. The injury suffered by Johnny Johnson moving Harris quarterback. Strong safety. 1st and 5 from midfield. Pruitt. And stopped at the line by Jim Collins. Today's game is being brought to you by Chevrolet, with the performance, style, innovation, quality, and the value that make up today's Chevrolet. By McDonald's, it's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. And by GMAC, the financing people from General Motors. They're calling it a 2nd and 4. The ball at the 50. Rams and Browns tied at 10. 4 minutes gone by. Third quarter. Now Newsome slot right. Feature to the right. And McDonald hanging in. Chased by Doss. And just did get it away.
He threw it over he was over the line of scrimmage when he threw it. He knew he'd had it. It was one of those reactive things. Could not pull the ball down. Ozzie Newsome was open, obviously, because he crossed the line by 2 or 3 yards. And that's what the penalty is.
Reggie Doss nearly grabbed him, and then McDonald, in pulling away, stepped across the line of scrimmage.
The offensive team threw the ball over the line of scrimmage. It was thrown from over the line of scrimmage. Therefore, we also have a loss of a down, and it will be 3rd down with the 5-yard penalty.
You know what? We see Paul McDonald with his short drop, and a short drop is terrific if your line blocking is aggressive right at the line of scrimmage, and theirs is primarily. But now when nobody's open, if he starts stepping forward, stutter stepping, etc., he's going to have a problem, because as he gets in there are a lot of blue shirts ready to handle him. That time he stepped under Youngblood, but you can see the eventuality.
3rd down play. McDonald was walloped. Nice try by Boyce Green. He almost hauled it in. Vince Newsome on the coverage. Newsome, the nickel back, and a 4th down punting situation upcoming. So Steve Cox will punt for the 5th time today. He's averaging 40 yards per punt. And Cox back at his 32. The deep man is Henry Eller. Now Leroy Irvin also drops back. Henry Ellen led the National Football League last year, averaging 13 yards per punt return. And good hang time. Irvin lets it go. And down by the Browns. Chris Watkins able to haul it down near the goal line. A 52-yard punt credited to Steve Cox. So the Rams will start out deep in their own territory when we return after these words. Well, John, neither quarterback burning it up here this afternoon.
Well, you look at the 135 yards on McDonald's stats, and really it was one 64-yard completion to Ricky Feature. At least he's got that on the board, and it led to a touchdown, but neither group's been able to really get with it.
And here are the Rams back at their 2-yard line. 1st down from the 2, and they'll try to run it out. Dickerson out near the 5. Bob Golick, 5-year man out of Notre Dame, on the tackle. Second down and 6 coming up. We're tied at 10. 5 minutes gone by in this third quarter. Not much happening to this point here in Anaheim, California. Dickerson on a slant, and that's his best run of the day. And here's it from the crowd, and tempers flaring. Penalty markers down.
Kent Hill, who very seldom gets into any sort of fracas, seemed to be in some sort of a disagreement with the defensive back. So he was down the field blocking. Eddie Johnson was also in there. Maybe they just don't want poor Eric to make any yards at all.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 51 on the defense and number 78 on the offense. And it was after the ball was dead, so there'll be no penalty. They both are charged with unsportsmanlike conduct. And it will be a first down as a result of the play.
So Jackie Slater of the Rams involved with Eddie Johnson of the Browns. But no penalty.
Well, they probably didn't see who created the first blow. They give it a no-fault job and go back to where the play was dead. I'm looking for Vinny to air it out a little. Send somebody deep. We haven't seen him do that all day.
First down at the 12-yard line.
2 tight ends.
Here's Dickerson cutting. And again, the Browns play him well. Bob Golick, the nose tackle. Eddie Johnson combining on the tackle.
We see Jackie Slater picking up Eric Dickerson. Let's see how he did leading the way. He's trying to block on Camp. Camp makes a very good play. Keeps the ball carrier from being able to make any movement at the point of attack. Forces him to cut back, and the linebackers clean up. 4 yards is under par for Eric Dickerson.
And Eric Dickerson now 13 carries, only 27 yards. 2nd and 7. Rams from their 16-yard line. Bergamo looking sideline for Eller. Out to the 30, Chip Banks and Lawrence Johnson on the tackle. A 14-yard pass play. There's Henry Eller, number 80. And right here we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
KWWL, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Dubuque.
Marv Albert along with John Brodie from Anaheim, California. We're third quarter, 8:40 remaining in the third. The Browns and the Rams are tied at 10. Rams starting from their 2, now first down at their 29-yard line. Nice move again by Dickerson. Don Rogers, the free safety, to make the stop.
Okay, that time the Rams won at the line of scrimmage. Number 50, Tom Cousineau. Some say he may be the best linebacker to play in this league. This time he went in the wrong direction at the start. Dennis Hara had no problem with him. Eric Dickerson picked up 9 yards, and that's what you're used to seeing from Eric.
Eric Dickerson, who was held to 12 yards rushing at the half, showing some signs. 2nd and 1 from the Ram 38. Crutchfield to midfield. Wayne Crutchfield for the first down as he rips off 12.
Right now, the offensive line feels a little pumped up. They finally took it from their own 2-yard line. Watch them get off on the ball. Everybody's making movement, getting a piece of the defenders. When they do that, they get out of the huddle quick, they get up on the ball, they can call a play, and they give them their back a chance to pick a hole. Crutchfield picked the right one, and they've got a first.
Wayne Crutchfield was the Jets' leading rusher first 12 games last year. He and head coach Joe Walt had a falling out, and he was abruptly dropped and then picked up.
Players never win those.
No. Dickerson back in the lineup with a short pickup. Chip Banks, number 56. Tom Cousineau, number 50, combining on the tackle.
I think the biggest concern that I have about plays coming in from the sidelines and coaching staffs calling the plays is that it's hard for the quarterback to ever sit in the huddle and have a feel and say, okay, fellas, I got one. Come on, hurry up, get in the huddle. As soon as the play's over, get back, we'll get out. He's always looking to the sideline. The direction's not coming from the huddle, and I think sometimes it destroys the chemistry.
Did you call your own plays?
Yeah, but I think we all did then. There were only a few exceptions. The game's changed now, maybe for the better.
All right, the swing was deflected. Dickerson able to shed Gross, but that's it. Al Gross hanging on.
Al Gross has played very well. He's made 4 or 5 tackles at the line of scrimmage. He's covered the people that have come downfield. And this is the sort of pass that they like to give Eric Dickerson a one-on-one. We saw him effectively grab the ball and run for a first down early, but when the ball was deflected that time, it gave Gross a chance to get in and make the tackle before he got started.
So it is 3rd and long, about 14. Just under 6 remaining in this 3rd quarter. This Ram drive starting back at their 2 off the Steve Cox 52-yard punt that was down at the 2.
He's got him.
Pass intended for Otis Grant, thrown behind him.
Well, here they go. They're gonna jump all over Vinny, and this time he was trying to go to the right side, but Otis Grant got off his man-to-man coverage real quick. Number 82, the inside slot. Watch the inside slot here. He jumps to the inside of his man. He's got him beat right away. This 82, Vinny, if he'd seen him, but he was in a shotgun, couldn't get control of the ball, would have hit him. Instead, punt.
And here is John Misko punting for the 4th time today. A chant of "We want Kemp" from a portion of the crowd. Brian Brennan. Again, terrific coverage by the Rams. 40-yard punt by Misko, and the short return, about 5 for Brennan. Vince Newsom leading the assault. 5.5 left, 3rd quarter. Rams and Browns tied at 10, and a timeout has been called. Back in Anaheim, Marv Albert with John Brodie. Things picking up a bit in the 3rd quarter. That had to be the best drive of the day for the Rams, although it did fall short.
Well, it's the first time their offensive line has really coordinated a little bit, given Dickerson a bit of a chance to run. And although Vinny didn't complete his ball on 3rd down, I think he's starting to get the feel of things. And let's hope the other offense can do the same, and somebody can put some points on the board that aren't defensive.
All right, the Browns taking over. Here's Paul McDonald. Looking deep. A diving catch.
You got to get up and go.
Dorial Harris. A 43-yard pass play. Nolan Cromwell covering Harris. Now, Harris last Monday against Seattle dropped one in the end zone. He and McDonald not quite in sync as of yet. And that time a beautiful play, and Harris is shaken up.
I think if we're fortunate, we can just see how close the outside cornerbacks are playing, hoping that a Cromwell can come out and pick up the slack if they beat him deep. But this time, Dorial Harris, who we've seen several times, Leroy Irvin picked off a ball for a touchdown. We mentioned then that he was playing a little too close. They took advantage of it, picked up a big gain.
Mike Pruitt on the 1st down play, and they continue to work on the 9-year veteran out of New Mexico State, Dorial Harris. Quiet from Miami. Cleveland looking for speed and quickness. Their receivers have been sure-handed, but a bit on the slow side, and Sam Rutigliano looking in the direction of Harris to pick up the pace.
Well, I think that they're going to get quickness from Dorial. They may not get speed. They would have 5 or 6 years ago, but they've got a receiver that's a very good one. He has to get in sync again with Paul, and that takes time.
McDonald has hit 6 of the last 8, 2nd and 7. And McDonald throwing sideline intended for Ricky Feature.
Another perfect illustration. When McDonald lets the ball go, Feature's got 3 more steps to run, and by the time he turns around, the ball's gone right by his helmet.
Sets up a 3rd down and 7. Here's a guy who was caught behind people such as Paul Warfield and Dave Logan, Reggie Rucker, now an NBC commentator.
Brian Sipe
finally surfacing as a starter back in '81.
Right, and Brian Sipe made it easy on all of them. Contrary to what a lot of people think, he's had perfect timing throwing the ball. All the offensive linemen were used to him. Now they've got a new situation.
for Newsom. Ozzie Newsom, submarine, inside the 20 for another Cleveland first down, a 17-yard hookup.
And that's the same pattern that McDonald looked to Harry Holt a couple times early when he didn't turn around. This is a blitz. They're starting to come. You see the linebackers jumping into the face of the backs. That leaves nobody in that area. McDonald picks it up well, hits Newsom with nobody around him, and they pick up another first down.
6 catches and 56 yards. There are the stats on Ozzie Newsom. First down at the 19. Pruitt, the lone D-back. Here's Pruitt cutting outside and had to work for about 5 yards. George Andrews on the stop. We're set for another update. Let's go to our studios in New York.
All right, Marv, for the 4th time in his career, John McEnroe is the U.S. Open tennis champion. He beats Ivan Lendl today in straight sets, 6-3, 6-4, 6-1. It's the 3rd consecutive year that Lendl has lost in the finals of the Open, twice to Jimmy Connors and now to McEnroe. Marv?
All right, Bob, and I would think both McEnroe and Lendl, 2 tired tennis players coming off yesterday's marathon. 2nd down, 6. Much time for McDonald, and able to complete the sideline pattern with Brian Brennan, covered by Eric Harris. Brian Brennan, the rookie from Boston College. He goes about 5'9", 178 pounds.
That doesn't matter when you have good moves. This kid's got good moves, and he runs patterns like he's 6 foot. He's well put together. He's an easy receiver to hit. When a receiver innately knows how much time the quarterback has, runs his pattern accordingly, as Brian did on that occasion, it won't be long before he'll be a steady performer in their lineup.
2nd catch of the day for Brennan, and it's a 1st and goal at the 8. Boyce Green checks back in, and Mike Pruitt on the running backs. Here's Pruitt, hole on the left, gets to the 5. Greg Meisner, the nose tackle, on the stop. So the Browns with a smart-looking drive with 2:15 left, 3rd quarter. Game tied at 10, and a 2nd and goal upcoming at the 5.
You know, we've been a little critical of both quarterbacks and their offensive structures, and I think it ought to be pointed out right now that Paul McDonald has taken them down with 3 beautiful plays, picked the right man on each occasion, and they're sitting in very, very scoreable territory.
Rookie Ernest Miner now in the backfield with Pruitt, who takes the handoff, and he's stacked up, picked up a yard. Reggie Doss, Jim Collins on the stop of Pruitt. 3rd and goal from the 4. Last Monday against Seattle, Pruitt was held in check. 15 carries, 43 yards. Well below his norm, averaging under 3 per carry.
When you're getting blown out, a running back is not going to be featured.
And now Pruitt is featured as the lone running back right here for this 3rd and goal, but it's McDonald to throw. And let's see, Browns, yes, they wanted the touchdown, they get it. Ozzie Newsom just did get in. Ozzie Newsom working on Nolan Cromwell and getting into the end zone, so the Browns take the lead 16-10.
This is the old pick play. Get your receivers running through the defenders. Make sure it's tough for them to get the angle on a receiver. All he needs is a step. Ozzie Newsom gets a step. McDonald waits patiently. It's hard to wait for 2 or 3 seconds before you throw that ball to a man that's running in the flat. Newsom gets it on the dead run. Perfect throw. Just beats Cromwell to the end zone.
And back live, Matt Barr puts it through, so the Cleveland Browns move in front of the Los Angeles Rams. 1:06 left, 3rd quarter, and it's the Browns by 7. 89 receptions a year ago, 2nd in the NFL behind Todd Christensen of the Raiders. Ozzie Newsom, the outstanding tight end, just came up with his 7th reception, a 4-yard touchdown pass play. Good drive by the Browns, who now lead the Rams by the score of 17-10. 1:06 left in this 3rd quarter. Kickoff by Cox. Here's Drew Hill from the 5. 15. Breaks away to the 40. tackles. A 39-yard return.
And a penalty which looks as if it's against the Browns and will be declined.
And it was Jim Dumont who finally hauled him down.
The kicking team was offside on the kickoff, and it will be refused.
Can't ask your special teams to do any more than the Rams have today.
All right, another look. Here is Drew Hill on the return. In the background, you can hear the reception for Vince Ferragamo as he steps onto the field.
And he does. But notice the coordination in the special teams area. They've got 5 fellas in the wedge that give Drew Hill an opportunity to break at the point of attack. When he does so, they don't bring him down until he's out to the 44-yard line.
The good return by Drew Hill, setting up the Rams first down at their 44-yard line. 54 seconds left, third quarter. Browns 17 and the Rams 10. Vince Ferragamo, 7th year out of Nebraska and having a very rough time. That's Ellard in motion. Dickerson. 3-yard pickup, Carl Hairston and Don Rogers on the stop. And we're down to 40 seconds and counting in this third quarter. There's Jeff Kemp, backup quarterback. He is the son of former NFL quarterback Jack Kemp. That is now Congressman Jack Kemp.
And I know he's antsy, but nothing's going to happen there, I don't believe, today.
Back, Kuhlman in motion. Here's Dickerson. Again, just a short advance and a flag thrown. Hairston on the tackle. Face mask being indicated against the Browns.
Doesn't have to be against the man that has the ball. This was...
There was an incidental face mask on the defense, number 72. First down.
That's Dave Pizzoli, called for the face mask.
Take a look at number 72. Dave Pizzoli, right there, sitting on number 56 in your program. Doug Smith, the center. And didn't mean it, I'm sure, but it's still 5.
All right, incidental called on Pizzoli, the second-year man from Pittsburgh.
And the second down will be repeated.
So it is a second down play upcoming.
How do you know he didn't mean it? That's the part I never could figure out.
Because Dave Pizzoli said, I'm sorry.
All right.
2nd and 1 at the Cleveland 47. Final seconds, third quarter. Dickerson. Battles for the first down. Eddie Johnson, Chip Banks come up from their linebacker positions to make the stop. And this third quarter has come to a close. Rams collecting the first down. So at the end of 3, it's the Browns 17, Rams 10. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. The man incognito in sunglasses. There's Pat Morita. He is currently one of the stars of the motion picture The Karate Kid, and he'll be hosting Grand Sumo Wrestling, Grand Sumo Tournament on NBC Sports World coming up in late October.
Yes, sir. And Pat used to be a 49er fan. That's how he learned all that stuff.
He told me he was, as a kid, a great fan of John Brodie.
I don't know about mine, but...
All right, the Rams, as we get underway here, fourth quarter, first down at the 44. Play action. Ferragamo gets it away. James McDonald on the reception. James McDonald, the basketball player at University of Southern Cal, who had not played football in some 8 years. He's made great progress. Big surprise last year. And there he is, number 83. Big guy, 6'5", about 245.
Right. He's big enough. He's the type receiver you'd like to have. He runs good patterns, has excellent hands, and made a good movement on that ball.
So McDonald with his first reception of the day, picked up 8, second down and 2. Rams down by 7 on the move at the Cleveland 36. Look out. Chip Banks, little over anxious.
It's the first time we've really said much about Chip Banks all day. Another one of Johnny Robinson's products out of USC. Several say he could be the best linebacker to ever play the game before he's through. They've got 3 of those fellas that fit that description. And they've allowed Eric Dickerson very little throughout the afternoon.
Encroachment on the defense, number 56, and it will be a first down.
So Chip Banks called on the play. Banks, Matthews, McDonald, and White all played for John Robinson at the University of Southern California.
Charles White's got it tough right now. He is a very good football player, having to play behind Boyce Green and Mike Pruitt. When he got his shot, he did a good job, but he's back on the bench.
Ferragamo throwing deep. And it is incomplete. Ron Brown, the U.S. Olympic gold medal relay man, on the reception, originally drafted by Cleveland on the 2nd round. And Ron Brown making the catch, but out of bounds.
All right, he's not a finished product. We all know that. But if you saw the first part of that pattern, had he taken it a little more to the inside, he'd have given Vinny a little more room to the outside. He ran a beautiful pattern. And when you have speed and coordination like that to catch the ball, I've seen a lot of these ex-track guys. Only a few of them have ever really converted into a top-flight receiver. I think this man's going to do it very swiftly, and they better put him in there pretty quick.
2nd down 10 from the 31. Ferragamo getting the time. Truman to the 20-yard line. Johnson and Cousineau on the stop. We're set for an update. Let's go to our studios in New York.
All right, Marv, in Houston, the Colts have struck again, and the Butler did it. Ray Butler on the receiving end of this Mike Pagel pass. Defensive back Willie Tullis doesn't have a clue. Colts 28, Houston 14 in the 3rd.
Thank you, Bob. And back here in Anaheim, the Los Angeles Rams with Vince Ferragamo now getting the time down at the Cleveland 20-yard line. It's a first down. We're 4th quarter. 13 minutes, 15 seconds remaining.
He's one-on-one out there with Ron Brown and
Dickerson. Dickerson making the cut to his right. Elvis Franks, number 94, in on the stop, along with Tom Cousineau.
That's the tough way. We've seen it all day long. Both teams feature the run. Sometimes it's tough, sometimes it's tougher. Imagine carrying the ball 35 times, coming up looking that way each time.
5-yard pickup.
Trying to break him.
51 yards, 19 carries for Dickerson. Showing signs in the 2nd half after he was held to 12 yards in the 1st half. Play action. A good hit on Ron Brown by Hanford Dixon.
Yeah, we mentioned he's one-on-one out there. I'm sure Vinny saw it. He didn't have the play to come to it. This time he did. This man can hold on to the football. Ran a super little short out pattern. And Vinny didn't wait very long before he let this one go. This was easy to throw. Boom, thank you very much. We'll pick up 6.
And it is a first down, 1st and goal at the 9. So Ron Brown, the rookie from Arizona State, on the reception. One of the many problems Ferragamo had against Dallas. He had people running some weird pass routes. Henry Elliott, Ron Brown both had their difficulties. 10th play of this drive coming up here. Dickerson outside and could not cut. Picked up about 3. Dixon and Rogers cutting him off.
Well, now it's 2nd down and 6. What do? You've got, they really need a touchdown. They haven't shown any signs of being able to move the ball as consistently as they've done on this occasion. They've got 2 downs to get it in there. Do you take Dickerson and run him 3 times, or do you fire the ball right now? If you haven't made the decision to use all 3 downs to score, I would throw it.
I would trust Dickerson.
All right, let's see what they do.
Second and goal. Now it's play action.
Beautiful
Touchdown. And that is the first NFL touchdown for Ron Brown. Apparently the Rams trusting Ferragamo and Brown.
Well, I'll tell you what, Vinny found himself a pal. And that's what you need. When you have a man with his kind of speed, he doesn't have to run beautiful patterns, and you can get in sync very quickly. Watch the way he takes Hanford Dixon into the end zone. He doesn't cut it off short, and when he does, he knows he has to fend him off. Does so with the left hand, got away with it. The ball was well thrown, and he comes up with his first TD.
And now the try for the extra point by Mike Lansford. Nolan Cromwell will put it down. And we're tied. The Browns and the Rams tied at 17.
And the game is picking up a little spirit.
Ferragamo combining with the speedster. Brown. Tie ball game. 10:46 remaining. Fourth quarter. Well, the wave has made its way out here to Anaheim as Vince Ferragamo can feel a little bit better about things, throwing his first touchdown of 1984 to tie the game at 17. And the kickoff by Lansford. Preston Brown on the return across the 20-yard line. The Cleveland Browns to the offense from their 22. Timeout is being called with 10.5 remaining in this fourth quarter. So we'll be back after these messages. Well, they started play a bit sooner than we anticipated, and on first down, McDonald tried to peg one to the rookie Brian Brennan. It was broken up. Deflected away by Eric Harris, so the second down play coming up. 2nd and 10 from the 22.
Well, we mentioned that Brian Brennan was going to be a fixture around there because of the way he runs patterns. That time McDonald was going to him the whole way, and he was very lucky the ball wasn't picked off. There were only Rams in the area where the ball bounced, but it did hit the ground.
McDonald now 9 of his last 13 for 184 yards. Thrown one touchdown. Both he and Ferragamo have picked it up in the second half. Off the swing. Pruitt. Out to the 27. Outside linebacker George Andrews on the stop. And this crowd has come to life. They did not exactly elbow their way in. We estimate about 40,000, which means in the area of 25,000 not showing up here at Anaheim. 3rd down and 5 from the 27. Feature splits to the right, and Harris to the left. Pruitt, penalty flag thrown. Mike Pruitt across the 30. Charles DeJournay and Vince Newsom, the nickel back, combining on the tackle, but let's check out the penalty. All right, the offside against the Rams.
That gives them a free play and a first down, I do believe. I think they had about 4, just a little under 5 to go. This should give it to them by the length of the ball. Ooh.
Defense, number 71 was offside. Third down will be repeated.
That's about an inch short of a first down. They're very casual about the way they move that baby. And
Reggie Duss, the man who was offside. So 3rd down and inches. And they line up very tight. the first down. Eric Harris on the cover-up. 9.5 remaining in this fourth quarter. Tied at 17. We're set for another update. Let's go to NFL 84.
Marv, in the third quarter at the Kingdome, the Seahawks have claimed the lead against the Chargers for the first time today. David Craig tucks it in and takes off down the right sideline. The play covers 37 yards for a touchdown. 17-10 Seahawks. 5.5 left in the third.
Thank you, Bob. Marv Albert, John Brodie from Anaheim Stadium. Sam Rutigliano's Browns and Johnny Robinson's Rams tied at 17. McDonald incomplete. Intended for Ozzie Newsome.
A very tough pattern to run. Ozzie Newsome ran around the linebacker, moved left looking over his right shoulder. Difficult, but it couldn't be thrown any better. And they're starting to give him a lot better protection. If you take a look, early in the ball game, we were seeing 85, 70, 71, getting rid of their blocks swiftly. Right now, the Cleveland Browns offensive line has risen to the occasion.
And that offensive line has gone throughout. Deacon, Jackson, Babb, Delavalore, and Kuntz. Again, the protection. Threw it off the swing. So Pruitt is short of the first down. Jim Collins.
Really a good play by Jim.
Today's game is being brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, simply phone your nearest BMW dealer. By Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light. It doesn't get any better than this. And by the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be. Third down and 6 at the 38. 8 minutes, 10 seconds left, fourth quarter. Quick release, but short of the first down. A good hit by Nolan Cromwell to hold Ozzie Newsome.
There are very few backs in this league that can make contact with a man like Ozzie Newsome and stop him in his tracks and actually move him backward. Cromwell's one of those few that's going to force a punt just as good as a turnover.
Nolan Cromwell coming off another Pro Bowl season despite making the move from free safety to strong safety. Now back at free safety with Johnny Johnson out. Rams did get good reports on both Johnson and tight end Mike Barber. They both figured a return much quicker than anticipated.
I'll tell you what, if Barber comes back, that'll be a plus, particularly for Vinny. But Johnny Johnson can give them a chance to play a lot of man-to-man defense because Gary Green can do it all over the field.
Art Cox from his 28. This is Ellard. Henry Ellard, 20. Picks up a block. Tightropes the sideline. And Gary Green bumped him out. A 45-yard punt and a good return. 22-yard return by Ellard.
Again, their special teams have put him in good field position. That's the second time in this half that it's happened. Ellard makes a great run here. It looked to me from upstairs as if he stepped on the line. The official didn't see it that way. Let's see. Nope. Yep, right there he stepped on, picked up an extra 6 or 7 yards. What the heck, he's due it once in a while. We'll be right back.
Rams defensive end Gary Jeter, he's out with a back injury. He reserved last year, always used when the Rams would switch from 3 to 4 down linemen. He may be back in mid-October. First down for the Rams from their 35, tied at 17, 7:06 left, fourth quarter. Dickerson stopped behind the line. Frank Minifield seeing much action today. Lawrence Johnson had a rough one against Seattle on Monday, and Minifield, who played with Arizona of the USFL, then signed with the Browns, reported after that extended legal battle as an NFL rookie out of Louisville, and he came up to make the stop on Dickerson.
And when you have your cornerbacks making stops, it's because somebody outside, the flanker back, didn't get his job done. Dickerson's accustomed not to seeing that guy.
Second down and 10. Ferragamo off the roll. And picked off by the Browns on the deflection. It's Tom Cousineau. Pass intended for James McDonald. Third time today that Ferragamo has been picked off.
I know he's thinking, when does this wheel turn? He just got a little bite in the last drive, taking him all the way down the field for a touchdown. These linebackers are very active. You don't want to bounce too many balls in their area. That time that ball should have been completed. That drive should have been kept alive, and the Rams should have the ball. But they don't. Cleveland's in excellent field position.
Tom Cousineau comes off the excellent year leading the Browns in 5 defensive categories. He's bounced back from those Canadian Football League cobwebs when he first reported to the NFL.
Don't anybody think that's an injury. It's just a cramp. It's kind of humid down here. The heat will take its toll.
Browns from the Ram, 34. Pruitt picks up 3. Jim Collins on the tackle. Another update just ahead. Let's go to NFL 84.
All right, Marv, down in Houston, an impressive Oiler drive behind Warren Moon. Earl Campbell has scored his 3rd touchdown of the day, this one from 1 yard out. It is 28-21 as the Oilers have pulled to within a touchdown of the Colts with just under 11 minutes left to play down in the Astrodome.
Thank you, Phil. Just under 6 left, 4th quarter, tied at 17. Here's Pruitt with the stutter step inside the 30, the nose tackle, Greg Meisner. Getting the reps on Mike Pruitt.
They've had quite a battle all day, both Greg and Mike Babb. Trading blows.
It's a 3rd down. 3rd and 4 for the Browns at the Ram 29.
And this is a run-pass situation because they're in a position where they would go for a field goal if they don't pick it up.
McDonald throwing deep. Throwing to the end zone, looking for Brennan.
And feature, you can see Paul McDonald shaking his head. There are no pass plays designed in which 2 receivers are deep in the end zone within 4 or 5 yards of each other. We've seen it happen 4 or 5 times today, and it's a nightmare. It makes you look stupid, and I'm sure one of those fellas ran the wrong pattern.
And now, Matt Barr attempting a 46-yard field goal. He hit from 25 earlier. 1 for 2 on the season. He missed last week from 44. No good. So the score remains tied at 17. Matt Barr not able to hit from 46 yards away. 5 minutes left, 4th quarter, and the Rams take over following these messages. Crowd of 43,043 at Anaheim Stadium. That is the official attendance capacity here. Upwards of 65,000.
Ram fans getting a little antsy, Marv, and I think the insertion of Ron Brown into the lineup right now can create a little adrenaline flow.
Brown is to the left. There he is. Dickerson out to the 35. Met by Tom Cousineau.
It's funny how just the insertion of a wide receiver gets the defensive backs in a different position, keeps the linebackers from being able to pursue at the line of scrimmage. And although he did nothing to help the play, I think he concerned the defensive backfield and kept their pursuit down.
And Dickerson picked up 7, 2nd down and 3 across the 35-yard line. So Dickerson has come back strong in the second half. Now 61 yards, 22 carries, had only 12 yards at halftime. Dickerson, big hole. First down and some more. Cousineau stopping him from behind. A 13-yard run.
Nothing fancy. Everybody pulled to the left side. It's that old student body left or right. Get a piece of somebody at the point of attack. Let him pick the hole. He finds one and picks up a first down.
David Hill and Kent Hill leading the way for Eric Dickerson, who has picked up 62 of his 74 yards in the second half. First down at midfield. Crutchfield providing a breather for Eric Dickerson. Cousineau on the tackle. Well, summer is slowly slipping away and fall just about upon us, but the boys of summer still have some unfinished business. Don't miss the absolute best of baseball. In the 1984 World Series, the championship of baseball beginning October the 9th here on NBC Sports. 3 yards for Crutchfield, setting a second down and 7. 3 minutes left, fourth quarter.
He's got Brown one-on-one out there.
Short setup, and Brown, the intended receiver, and he took a wallop.
That's right. He's been hanging on to the ball. He ran a pattern not as sharp as those he'd run before, maybe cutting to his right's a little more foreign than to his left. But when he does cut, he is open. Vinny throws the ball a perfect time. He runs easy patterns to read, is what I'm saying. And through the course of the season, you'll see Vinny start looking to him every time he's in a one-on-one situation.
3rd down and 7.
And who wouldn't?
Yeah. Ron Brown, who has caught his first 2 passes in the National Football League, including his first touchdown earlier. Speedster from Arizona State. Dickerson. Second effort by Dickerson for an 18-yard run, and Gross and Minifield were able to bring him down across the 30.
Well, it's very tough when you're in a 3rd and 8 situation. If your offensive line gives you any sort of movement at all, a back like Eric Dickerson, you'll notice they weren't using the shotgun that time. They came in with him in the backfield on 3rd down and 7. That gives him an opportunity to break it past those, those fellas with the small numbers, the 20s and the 30s, their backs. He runs over some of them.
So Dickerson approaching a 100-yard day, and this one began very slowly as the Browns did a job, but suddenly things opening up. Crutchfield finds a hole inside the 25. Eddie Johnson and Don Rogers on the tackle. And here comes Dickerson back onto the field, replacing a limping Crutchfield. 2nd and 4 upcoming, but the 2-minute warning has been provided. And right now, here comes another one of those fantastic finishes. Well, last year only Earl Campbell was able to dent the Browns for a 100-yard game. And Eric Dickerson now 8 yards away. Browns and Oilers split the 2 games last season.
And they've got to hurry right now. Vinny's got his play, but he's also only got 15 seconds, so it better be simple to call so he can get the ball off.
Second and about 4 from the 24. Ellen and Grant now the wide receivers, but it is Dickerson. Down to the 16.
Got to be simple to call his number. Eric, run it to the right. You all get a piece of somebody, and good luck.
So the first down picked up, and the clock is stopped with 1:55 remaining. We're tied at 17.
I wonder how much the heat is having a toll on all the linebackers today. Both teams have consistently run their fullbacks, and Eric's starting to find some holes.
And Dickerson has gone over 100 yards. 101 yards, 25 carries for Eric Dickerson. Again, short pickup, Bob Golick, the nose tackle, on the stop. Right here, let's get back to New York for another update.
Marv, a few minutes ago, we showed you a 37-yard touchdown run by Seattle quarterback Dave Craig. This one a little shorter. It covers 3 yards. He's gained 63 yards on the ground today, and Seattle leads 24-10 with 11 minutes left.
Thank you, Bob. Minute 47 remaining in the fourth quarter here in Anaheim. Game tied at 17, 2nd and 8 upcoming for the Los Angeles Rams down at the Cleveland 13-yard line.
Now there are 2 reasons why I can understand them giving the ball to Dickerson, 2nd and 8 down here. 1, a field goal can put them on the board for the win. 2, time is running off the clock. They would force Cleveland to take all their timeouts. and they seem to have Cleveland's number running the ball at the present time.
Eric Dickerson has gained 49 of his 102 yards on this Ram drive. Sam Rutigliano, only the 5th head coach in Cleveland Browns history. And Johnny Robinson, man who believes in the basics, which means much of Eric Dickerson, although he likes to throw deep.
Well, you can bet John Robinson's going to take a long look and observe what he thinks is going on offensively in their structure. Now, Jimmy Ray's an excellent offensive coordinator. He's the man that's been calling the plays. John doesn't really meddle in other people, in what everybody's responsibility is, but they haven't been consistent moving the ball. He'll take a look at this second half and see that they did things in a very simple nature. They've done them effectively, and I think he's going to simplify it.
2nd down and 8. Crutchfield, the lone deep back. Here's Crutchfield. Inside the 10. Cousineau and Rogers on the stop. The clock running down to 1:36. And a timeout call.
You can never gain more than 30 seconds with a timeout, so when you're having trouble getting the ball back, you might as well call it when the other team has the ball.
So a 3rd down 5 upcoming when we resume from the Brown 10-yard line. We are approaching 4 p.m. Pacific Coast time. The lights turned on in Anaheim Stadium. Minute 36 left. 4th quarter, tied at 17. Browns have 1 timeout left. Rams with 3 left. 3rd down and 5 for the Rams at the Cleveland 10-yard line. Eric Dickerson with no gain. Cousineau and Johnson on the stop, and a timeout being called.
And that's it for Cleveland. That's their last timeout. They'll have some time after this field goal try.
And while we have an opportunity, let's duck in. Another update. Let's get back to NFL 84.
Marv, with Art Schleister waiting in the wings, the Colts' Mike Pagel knows he has to play well. He flings this one 33 yards to Tracy Porter for the touchdown. For Pagel, his 4th touchdown pass of the day. 35-21 Colts over Houston, about 5 minutes left.
All right, Bob, so the Colts bouncing back from last week's loss in Indianapolis to the New York Jets. And the Colts looking for their first victory in Indianapolis as I should say, as an Indianapolis franchise.
Right. When they went away from home, that's a pretty good sign. I mean, those people in Indianapolis last week were just absolutely on a rampage, and they'd like nothing better than to see their team win. But Colts are young, and if Pagel can go, maybe they can too.
All right, here's Mike Lansford. As the Rams set up for the field goal. Lansford hit from 37 yards in the 2nd quarter. And that gave the Rams a 10-7 lead. Lansford on the season is 3 for 3. He connected from 31 and from 36 Monday night against Dallas. Nolan Cromwell will hold. And this a 27-yard attempt. A minute and 28 remaining as the Rams look to move in front by 3. And they do. So a 27-yard field goal by Mike Lansford. A 61-yard drive featuring Eric Dickerson, who collected 48 of those 61 yards.
Just another day at the plant for Mike. Little chip shot right through the uprights. He had made 3 for 3, Marv, but he hadn't had any game winners.
Last year, you recall that Lansford came up with that clutch 42-yarder with 2 seconds left to put the Rams in the playoffs.
That's right. Now, let's take a look at it from the other side. Paul McDonald needs to get a break from his special teams. They have not played exceptionally well throughout the day. They have to give him good field position. Remember, he has no timeouts left. And then he has to use the clock wisely. With no timeouts, it really puts a burden on a quarterback. He doesn't have time to have the plays sent in and out. So I'm sure they're discussing that right now.
And Lansford getting set to kick off. Ernest Biner now dropping back along with Preston Brown.
I don't think he's licking his lips to hand the ball off, do you?
And this is Brown to the 5, 10, 15. That's all. The Rams special teams continue to excel. Defense and the special teams have done it here this afternoon. Norwood Van and Mark Giroux that time getting to Preston Brown. So the Cleveland Browns to the offense, trailing here by the score of 20-17. And as you see, 1:19 remaining in the fourth quarter. Here is McDonald going the middle. Brian Brennan has the first down. Jim Collins makes the stop.
Get another play call, Paul. No time to linger. I'm sure he's got 2 or 3 called.
And you see the clock running, under a minute left. Nice catch across midfield by Brian Brennan. Leroy Irvin on the tackle. The hurry-up offense for the Browns, whipping it down.
He didn't see Paul's arm throw that one. He just saw the ball. It almost hit him in the face mask. Great catch. Get a little timeout, throw the ball out of bounds. No penalty.
So the clock is stopped with 35 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Summer Sunday USA Special Edition will be seen immediately following the conclusion of NBC football coverage over most of these stations, except for most Mountain and Pacific time zone stations, where it will be seen at its regular time.
Now, what he's got to do is he's either got to complete a ball of some 20 to 24 yards to give Barr a chance to kick a 47-yard field goal, or throw one out of bounds. He can't afford to have that ball stopped in the field of play.
McDonald off the pump, throws a floater. And it's ruled incomplete.
Well, Duriel Harris actually caught the ball in the field of play, but he was pushed out of bounds before he had an opportunity to go after the ball.
And Harris in a battle with Irvin.
Sam's yelling for interference. He got pushed out of the field of play. Once that happens, the receiver has no right.
A knuckleball thrown by McDonald after the pump.
Well, Paul's worried. You know, he knows he caught it in the field of play. You can see both his feet come down.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense, number 84, and the down will count, so it will be third down after a 15-yard penalty.
Oh, that really hurts the Browns. A severe blow. Duriel Harris had a little too much to say.
You know, that's what I think. I don't care, Marv. This game is heated. Right now they're playing for the victory, and I think that officials ought to keep that into consideration. An unsportsmanlike conduct penalty at that time should be flagrant. I did not see it, and it looked like a little bump. I don't think that's too flagrant at this part of the game.
He was involved with the side judge, Gary Lane. Third down play. McDonald throws short. And remember, the Browns do not have any timeouts remaining. Brian Brennan on the catch. We're down to 13 seconds. Clock running.
They're going to try and kick a field goal? No. Cox, what's he doing on the field?
Well, it's final seconds now. Crowd counting it out. They can't get the snap going. And a penalty flag thrown. The Browns could not get organized at the line of scrimmage. Very difficult situation.
Well, I've seen Sam in a lot of situations. Right now, he's going out to talk with the officials.
The flag was thrown as time was running down. The Browns, I presume, were about to just heave one to the end zone.
Well, I think what they wanted to do was get Steve Cox.
Start on the offense.
They may reset the clock. Let's see. Which Johnny Robinson does not appreciate.
Well, John knows this game is not over. There have been many games won with one play to go. They're giving the Browns one more play, and they're not going to kick any sort of a field goal because that would be some 75 yards, and that is a little beyond anybody's range. Fire it down there. Hope you get lucky, boys.
They have reset the clock. 2 seconds remaining. The explanation is that the flag was thrown and the clock was stopped with 2 seconds left. So the Browns have one desperation play remaining.
And Sam's taking a hike. He's better.
All right, here it is. Donald heaving it down, looking for Holt. And it is, let's see, it is broken up. Cromwell was on the ball, Holt the intended receiver, and that is it. The Los Angeles Rams have pulled out a 20-17 victory over the Cleveland Browns, and Sam is red hot.
Well, I'll tell you what, we mentioned the reason, and the reason was that he didn't think that penalty should be called in a situation that was that critical. And I happen to agree with him, and I have for some time. You can see right now, Duriel Harris has been pushed out of bounds, tries to come back, make a catch. He actually did catch the ball with his feet in the field of play, but once you're out of bounds, there's no action. I don't agree with the call.
All right, so the Rams are now 1-1 and a tough loss for the Browns. They are 0-2 next Sunday, a Sunday night game. Cleveland will play its home opener against Denver next Sunday. The Rams will be at Pittsburgh. So the field goal by Mike Lansford is the game winner. And the Rams have defeated the Browns 20-17. Marv Albert, John Brodie from Anaheim. Stay tuned for NFL 84 after these messages.